Hi everyone and welcome to Tech Cravers. The other day this package arrived completely unannounced. It's my review unit of AYN's latest handheld, the Odin2 Portal. And for those of you who might not be familiar with that, AYN is the company behind some of the most praised handheld devices in recent years. It all started with the original AYN Odin, followed by the Odin2, Odin2 Mini, and now their latest release, the Odin2 Portal. The Odin2 Portal is in many ways a premium version of the Odin2. It comes packed with upgrades like a larger 8000 mAh battery, a full glass front, and most notably a 7-inch OLED screen with 120Hz refresh rate. In this first impressions video, I won't focus too much on gaming performance since it's quite similar to the Odin2 Pro, which I have already reviewed. Instead, I'll walk you through the key differences between the Odin2 Portal and the Odin2 Pro, and of course share my initial thoughts. Alright? Let's dive in. Along with the box containing the handle itself, I also received a soft AYN branded pouch. It's a perfect size for storing some nuts, or you know, the Odin2 Portal, if you didn't care about protecting it for bumps and drops. Jokes aside, it won't offer much impact protection, but for scratches and minor scuffs it's definitely a nice inclusion. The Odin2 Portal is bigger than its predecessor, which you will see more of in just a moment. That said, I'll probably need to start hunting for a proper protective case soon. But alright, let's pull the thread and take a look at what's inside the box. Staying true to AYN's usual presentation, the first thing you'll find is a sturdy card. On the left, it provides details about the handheld's buttons and layout, while the right side features a spec sheet. We'll dive deeper into some of these specifications as the video progresses, but feel free to pause here if you want to take a closer look. Just keep in mind that apart from the battery and display, the internal specs are very similar to the Odin2 Pro, so there shouldn't be any noticeable difference in gaming performance. Beneath the card and some protective material lies the Odin2 Portal in all its glory. There's always something special about seeing a handheld with full glass front for the first time. It just oozes premium quality. After I recovered that initial premium feeling, however, two thoughts immediately came to mind. First, I absolutely cannot drop this on the floor. And second, if this isn't a fingerprint magnet, I don't know what it is. For reference, I've actually ordered the white Odin2 Portal for myself, which hasn't arrived yet. This review unit, however, is black, as you can see. It'll be interesting to compare the two color options in a future video, especially to see if one handles fingerprints better than the other. By the way, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on videos like this or the upcoming comparison. Some of you might be a bit disappointed to hear about this, but the only other item in the box is an AYN branded USB-C to USB-C charging cable. No extras like thumb caps or screen protectors are included. Speaking of what's included, you might be wondering where you can order an Odin2 Portal and how much it costs. As of today, the only way to get your hands on an Odin2 Portal is by backing AYN's Indiegogo campaign, which you can find linked in the video description below. There are still some early bird versions available, but those will likely sell out quickly as more reviewers start showcasing the handheld in their videos. The prices here are currently listed only in Swedish and Chinese currencies, but here's a helpful chart summarizing the different pricing options. All the super early birds units are already sold out. In fact, if you acted quickly enough, you could have snagged an Odin2 Portal with AYN's super fan discount, which brought the price down even further. For reference, I bought my Odin2 Portal Pro for $365 before taxes and shipping. As of now, the pricing is as follows. The Portal Base can be yours at $329, the Portal Pro at $399, and the Portal Max at $499. Keep in mind these prices will increase once the early bird deals are gone. You can see the retail pricing here on the right. If you want to choose the color of your handheld, note that this option is only available for the Pro and Max models. The base version is only offered in black. Also be aware that there's currently a long waiting list, so if you order it today, delivery will likely be at least a few months away. Time to take a closer look at the layout and design. As we've already established, the entire front panel is glass, while the buttons, as you can see, are plastic and quite distinctly separated from the glass surface. The resemblance to the retro Pocket 5 is striking, and it really makes you wonder if these handhelds were designed by the same team. Now, while it's already picked up a few smudges, I want to note that after a few days of use it doesn't attract nearly as many fingerprints as I initially feared. The D-pad is my favorite type, larger than the one on the Odin 2, and it strikes a great balance between being clicky and slightly rubbery. It feels fantastic to use. On a handheld with this level of performance, having the D-pad positioned below the left stick is ideal as well, as I'll mostly be playing modern games that rely more on the stick than the D-pad. And for those wondering, the thumbstick caps are the exact same type as those on the Odin 2, so if you have extra caps or different sized ones laying around for your Odin 2, they'll work perfectly for the Portal as well. That said, the sticks on the Portal do stick out more than they do on the Odin 2. This is because on the Odin 2 they are recessed a few millimeters into the casing, whereas on the Portal they sit flush with the surface. I'll save the deeper discussion about the differences in stick design and comfort during gameplay for my upcoming full review, as I haven't had enough time with the Portal to fully evaluate that yet. One noticeable improvement is that the face buttons on the Portal are larger than those on the Odin 2. This is a welcome change, as I've always felt that the buttons on the Odin 2 were just a bit too small. The L1 and R1 and L2 and R2 buttons are generously sized and feature a subtle texture for improved grip. My index fingers naturally rest on them, and they actually feel even better positioned than they did on my Odin 2, though they were already quite good there. The fingerprint reader on the Odin 2's power button is gone, and in its place we have a standard power/sleep button with an accompanying LED charging indicator. Next to it you'll find the volume buttons as well as the fan exhaust, and for those wondering, yes, it smells just as satisfying as on the Steam Deck. On the underside you'll find a conveniently placed micro SD card slot, a headphone jack, and the USB-C port for charging and video output. And last but not least, let's take a look at the back, and here you'll find a generously sized fan intake for the Portal's internal cooling system, as well as the two additional M1 and M2 function buttons. These can be mapped to your preferences for various emulators or Android games. Personally, I like to map these buttons for extra functions like switching screens on a Nintendo 3DS emulator or opening the inventory in Android games. It's super convenient. Unfortunately, the back is also where most of the fingerprints and smudges tend to accumulate. If you go for the black version, be prepared to wipe it down regularly, assuming that sort of thing bothers you. Now let's take a look at how the Odin2 Portal compares in size to some other popular handhelds, starting with perhaps the most popular handheld out there, Valve's Steam Deck. You can see that the deck is absolutely massive next to the Portal. I was initially a bit worried that the Portal might feel a bit too big, but seeing them side by side like this, it's clear just how compact the Portal really is, even with its large 7-inch screen. It strikes a great balance between screen size and portability. And the thing that's truly impressive is seeing just how small the Odin2 Portal is compared to the ROG Ally X, which also features a 7-inch screen. While I won't make any other comparisons here, it's worth highlighting how incredibly compact the Portal is despite its large screen. It's an impressive feat of design by the AYN team. And last but not least, of course, let's compare the Odin2 Portal with the Odin 2, since many of you likely already own the Odin 2 and are wondering about the differences. Side by side, the Odin 2 looks noticeably smaller than the Portal, which makes sense given the 6-inch screen compared to the Portal's 7-inch screen. Interestingly, I don't feel much difference in weight when holding them. This aligns with AYN's specs, which list the Odin 2 at 420 grams and the Portal at 430 grams, a barely noticeable 10-gram difference. The Odin 2 is slightly thicker throughout, which gives it a slightly more comfortable grip around the handholds. However, the narrower layout and smaller buttons on the Odin 2 make the controls feel a bit less ergonomic compared to the Portal. That said, I'm definitely nitpicking here, both handhelds are extremely comfortable to hold. But now we've waited long enough, it's time to look at what everyone's really wondering about. How good is the new OLED screen, and perhaps more importantly, is it better than the screen on the Odin 2? This is always tricky to do justice over a YouTube video, but I was absolutely blown away by how incredible the screen is. From the moment I powered it on, and especially with the brightness turned up, it's clear that this display is on another level. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that this is the best screen I've ever experienced on an Android handheld, hands down. It's truly something special. From the Android menu, which you can access by swiping down from the top, you can tweak several useful settings like brightness, performance modes and fan settings. But this time you can also quickly toggle between 60 and 120 Hz, which this screen fully supports. You won't see the difference in this video, but trust me when I say it's night and day. The 120 Hz refresh rate makes everything smoother, and it's a game changer for both gameplay and general use. But just in case you don't believe me, here is the Odin2 Portal next to my Odin2 Pro, both set to max brightness. Let me start by saying that I've always liked the 6-inch IPS screen on the Odin2. It's a great display, but seeing it side by side with the OLED screen on the Portal, I'm seriously starting to doubt whether I'll ever be able to go back using my Odin2. The difference is just unbelievably huge. Of course, this shouldn't come as a surprise to fans of OLED displays, and I've experienced the difference before as well, but AYN has really knocked it out of the park with this one. The difference in screen quality aren't just noticeable in menus and general use. As I've already mentioned, they really shine when playing games, especially in fast-paced action games like God of War 2, here running on the Nether SX emulator for Android. The improvement is like going from 0 to 60 in a blink of an eye. Don't get me wrong, I'm not here to bash on the Odin2, which remains one of my all-time favorite handhelds. It's just that games look so much better on the Odin2 Portal's OLED screen. In terms of emulation and performance during my relatively short time with the Portal, I'd say it's pretty much identical to the Odin2. Whether I'm playing Android games or pushing the limits with more demanding emulators like PlayStation 2, Wii U or Switch, both devices handle it equally well. However, it just looks better on the Portal, simple as that. That said, I did notice a slight difference when running the Wildlife Extreme benchmark test. The Portal scored a bit higher than the Odin2, likely due to its improved cooling system, but as you can see, the average FPS difference in the test is barely noticeable. Regardless of which games I've tested so far, whether it's newer systems like 3DS, Wii U or Switch, or older classics like Super Nintendo or Nintendo 64, the Odin2 Portal's OLED screen breathed new life into every title. The vibrant colors and deep inky blacks that OLED displays are known for create a gaming experience that feels richer and more immersive. Unlike traditional LCD screens, which rely on backlighting and can sometimes look washed out, OLED panels light up each pixel individually. This means colors pop with more intensity, and dark scenes like shadowy levels or nighttime environments are truly black, not dull gray. For retro classics, this means sharper contrast and truer representation of how those games were meant to look. And for modern games, the added color depth and fluidity brings everything to life. It's not just an improvement, it's a transformation. Once you played on an OLED display, it's actually hard to go back. To wrap up my first impressions video, I want to briefly mention that while the Odin2 Portal isn't a perfect handheld just yet, it has the potential to become one. As I've already said, the screen is hands down the best I've experienced on any Android handheld before. The performance is definitely here, and so far everything on the hardware side is impressive. However, I've encountered some issues on the software side, occasional bugs, crashes and freezes during my testing. The good news is that software problems can almost always be fixed. I'm confident that AYN will quickly act on the feedback from the community as they've done with their previous handhelds and release updates to iron out these issues. With that said, I'd like to thank AYN for sending me this review unit. The Portal has incredible potential, and I'm excited to see where it stands when we look back at the best handhelds of 2025. And of course, I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving it a thumbs up and comment down below. Maybe let me know if there's a specific game you'd like to see tested in a future video. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it as well. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.